Salam, y'all. Looks like a lot of people are talking about what's going on with Sneako, and I want to make a reaction about some of the stuff he said lately. So let's get to it.
والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب.
I am not moving into an Islamic. You people want me to move into a mosque. You betrayed us. Get a life, bro. Get a life. I'm done. I don't want to be in this.
But I'm not sure if I'm not sure if.
So first of all, this is so embarrassing. Sneako, you need to grow up, man. You're acting like a child. Unfortunately, you need some good role models in your life. And two, this Christian guy who's responding to it, he obviously has an agenda. So let's keep that in mind as we go along. I also want to remind everybody that on screen here, people who are Christians, obviously from the get-go, don't trust them. They say don't trust Muslims, but we don't have anything where it tells us to lie for the sake of gospel, right? Like Paul taught his followers. And so 2 Corinthians 12, Paul says, I did not burden you myself. Nevertheless, crafty fellow that I am, I took you in by deceit. So Paul makes it very clear that it is totally okay to deceive people, and he takes people in by deceit. And just like in 1 Corinthians 23:19 through 23, that he said that he is a slave, he's free, belongs to no man, yet he has made him slave to everyone. To a Jew, he becomes like a Jew to win the Jews. To those not under the law, he becomes like those not under the law, the pagans, to win those not under the law, so on and so forth. And he says, I become all things to all people, so that by all means I may win some, and I do this for the sake of the gospel. So if it's for the gospel and preaching people to worship a man, then it's okay to lie. So know that going forward with this Christian guy. But let's see what Sneako actually says.
Sneako, even aware that Islam isn't like a MacBook. You can't just force quit when things aren't working. You might recall the time when the famous streamer Sneako started raging while watching my video about his conversion of Islam, Fresh and Fit podcast, when the topic of real estate came up. Once Sneako realized that paying interest on a house was haram, which simply means forbidden in Arabic, this led Sneako to start listing off all of his frustrations with Islamic rules.
Having fun as an adult is so hard without alcohol. Like, what do you do? Like, you're like a robot. Like, you don't do. Like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, how much stuff do I have to give up? Pork, fun, alcohol, women.
This is this just shows the immaturity. And actually, I wasn't planning on putting Sneako on blast, but this just shows that he's intellectually dwarfed. I mean, if you think that all of these things give you a successful, fulfilled life, just on the outside of saying them, then you're missing a little bit up here, my friend. Like, you're not even paying attention. That's not to say the problem that you have with your iman, but you're missing some intellect, because I guarantee you I've had tons and tons of fun as a Muslim. And let's break this down. Let's talk about pork. You said can't eat pork. Okay, so what? Pork's not even like that great of a meat. Even when I was a disbeliever before I came to the true faith, I wasn't having a fit if I couldn't have pork. And okay, well, bacon. Okay, beef bacon's way better than pork bacon. Okay, alcohol. Yeah, I don't get to be retarded and wake up in places I don't know, urinating all over myself and having lots of problems, possibly drinking and driving, possibly killing people. Yeah, you don't get to do any of that stuff anymore. Okay, and then women. Let's talk about women. Okay. You can have women. You can have gorgeous, amazing, beautiful women who are going to pray for you in the middle of the night. But guess what? You got to be committed. You can't just take them and leave them and treat them like trash. You actually got to be a responsible man, not a irresponsible male. And that's the problem with you, Sneako, is you're a male. You haven't turned into a man yet. From anything that I've seen and from these videos, you're just a dhakr. Right? And you need to grow up a little bit, partner, and understand that you can have a heck ton of fun as a Muslim. Being a Muslim doesn't stop anybody from having fun, but rather it gives us what the purpose of life is. And the purpose of life isn't about having fun. The purpose of life, as Allah says in the Quran, وَمَا خَلَقُتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have not created jinn and mankind except to worship me. So you will not get fulfillment. You will be empty. You will always be chasing your tail on that hamster wheel unless you worship Allah alone as He wants to be worshipped, following His commands. Right? This is the straight path.
Gambling, music, about everything. I can't even invest my money. Yeah, no.
All right, that's a lie. You can invest. A lot of people invest. Investing is not haram. It's about what you invest in. If you invest in something haram, then it's haram. But investing on its face value is not haram.
You can invest, but you can't invest it into things that involve usury. But any real investment typically deals with interest. Unfortunately, that's just how it is.
They're saying credit cards are haram.
Yeah.
What the
But here's where things start to get more interesting. Sneako built a large portion of his Rumble audience based on his conversion to Islam. So, of course, this has led to him building an audience that's heavily interested and invested in his Islamic journey. And just when the Muslims in his chat started to believe that them and Sneako were finally getting on the same page, he made it crystal clear that they weren't. The persistence of his Muslim followers encouraging him to act in accordance publicly with his faith has led to Sneako saying things like this.
We get it. Porn is bad. Haram! Don't do that. It's a sin. That's trannies. Like, oh my God, we get it. Can I go outside now? My Rumble comments, all that's like, Sneako's hanging out with these, Sneako betrayed us. Why is he eating dinner with these people? What? You should be yelling at whores with Myron right now. Now I'm gonna react to the music. You betrayed us. Get a life, bro. Get a life. I'm done. I don't want to be in this. I thought we were on the same page. Bro, I was at the mall talking about moving into a content creator house with some of my friends. And then people are messaging me like, Sneako, move into an Islamic learning house. Bro, what the f*** you talking about? No, bro. Like, I'll go pray Jummah. I'll read my Quran. I'll talk to scholars. I am not moving into an Islamic. You people want me to move into a mosque. You want me to sleep in the mosque now. And it's like, he's grifting. I'm not grifting. I just want to have a f***ing home. I don't want to live in a mosque. Get off of my dick. Holy f***.
You know, I'm really embarrassed for him. Pretty darn embarrassed, because it's just, he looks like a fool. Sneako, if you're gonna watch this, you look completely humiliated. You're humiliating yourself, man, and it's not a good look. It's just not even for your followers, but just, I mean, watch the stuff that you put up. Like, go back and watch it again, and like ask yourself, is this honorable kind of behavior in the way that I'm talking? Look, I get it that you feel overwhelmed, because that's a part, you know, of this test, you know. Allah says in Surah An-Kabut, right, the 29th chapter of the Quran, does mankind say that we believe? Do they think that they'll say we believe and they won't be tested? Verily, people have come before them, right, and they have said these words and they have been tested. You are going to be tested. You're going to feel overwhelmed, man. But, you know, at the end of the day, people who are spending and wasting all their time following you, they need to get a life, right? And you're policing this guy as if you're on some high horse. You're watching this guy Sneako for hours on his live streams, cursing, acting like a buffoon, talking about the most disgusting and vile of things. Like, what are you doing with your life? Why aren't you going and giving charity and helping and learning Arabic, learning fiqh and Islam and Quran? Like, what are you doing? You know, it's kind of like, you know, you see some people's comments on YouTube and other places, you know, they're trashing people and haram policing, right? And then you go click on their profile and go to their page and you look at all the stuff they like, and you're like, okay, they're watching, astaghfirullah, you know, videos of females doing all kinds of funky stuff, and you watch what they are actually watching, and they're a bunch of hypocrites. So guys, I think you need to get a life and stop following these people, right? These new converts or people who are, you know, really cool and like they're living life all big, and they're neat and they're genuine and open, and they're just telling you everything how it is. Man, they just act a certain way to get reactions out of people and to take your money, to take money from you watching, right? And so you all need to grow up. And Sneako, you need to not be so darn sensitive. You know, you need a little bit more testosterone in that soy infested body of yours, man. I tell you what.
As you could probably imagine, Sneako's Muslim audience did not take that very well. Inshallah, he will be grounded into fine dust. Humble yourself, you pathetic man. He sold his soul. And others started calling him Grifto and the sellout, among other things. So following that stream, Sneako was left with a decision to make. Would he choose to follow the rules that Allah demands, or would he choose to willfully sin against Allah and therefore disappoint his new Muslim fans? Well, we didn't have to wait too long to find out because he answered this question in a follow-up stream.
But am I gonna lie? I'm gonna do it. Like I'm getting into real estate now, and buying a whole house cash up front is just like, I'd rather finance it, stuff like that. There's so much interest involved. I'm gonna do it. And I know it's haram. Sorry.
And it seems at this point, maybe Sneako has had enough of Islam, because investing in real estate isn't the only willful sin that he's choosing to commit.
It's haram. Interest is haram in Islam.
So is listening to music. So is punching people in the face. I punch people in the face. I listen to music.
And ever since this stream, Sneako seems to be on a haram-making mission. He's acting as if he's just trying to die haram and happy. This dude is living every day like it's one big haram holiday. My guy is living life like his new motto is give me haram or give me death.
Shouldn't play music because music is haram.
Adult films are obviously haram, but this wouldn't stop a freako from thinking with his libido. So stupid. About a week ago, he was asking an adult
You are pretty stupid.
star to come record private corn videos with him at his house.
So what do you do for a living? I don't judge. I think everybody can do how. Maybe we can make our own porn privately, you know?
That's even better. Keep it just for us.
Just for us. And then we could play it on the TV in the house.
Most forms of dating are haram in Islam, and Sneako got a random new girlfriend during a live stream and has been streaming their haram dates. Now, this was only a few days ago, and since then, he's been checking out other girls on live streams.
There's some girls. Chat, I did so many today already. All right, if we see one, inshallah. Inshallah. Look how many there are right there. So many baddies in Brickell. I'm telling you, chat. I'm telling you. Look at them. Look at this one right ahead. She looks bad. Oh, she's with a guy. Hey, pretty girl. Hey, fat ass. This is what I'm saying. Look at that, bro.
But I'm not sure if Sneako is even aware that Islam isn't like a MacBook. You can't just force quit when things aren't working. Public apostasy can buy you a one-way ticket to you-know-where, along with a large number of Muslims that believe that they have a theological license to send you there.
Yeah, I'm going to stop you right there. There's, I don't care what you say or what people think. There's no Muslim who is allowed to go outside of the state and just go take vigilante matters into their own hands. Does a person who apostates and die upon apostasy deserve the hellfire? Absolutely. They deserve to roast there forever with their entrails falling out behind them in eternal misery. For sure. I mean, anyone who disbelieves and is ungrateful to their Lord for everything he's given them by worshiping other than him, they deserve that. So, you know, may Allah keep us steadfast on this path, but no one's going to go out searching for apostates.
And to be fair to his Muslim chat, they're probably just trying to help him avoid Allah's judgment, since according to Sahih al-Bukhari, sins that are committed openly won't be forgiven in Islam. And ironically,
that is true, right, on its outset, if a person doesn't seek the forgiveness. But as we believe in Sunni Islam, Ahlul Sunnah, that any person who sincerely repents, makes what's called major tawbah from any sin, including shirk, which is even greater, if it's sincere, Allah will forgive it.
this has been Sneako's longtime criticism of Christianity and Christians. Sneako often argues that Christianity is flawed because he thinks that Christians believe that they can willfully choose to commit plenty of sin and still consider themselves to be Christians.
Become a Muslim. There you go.
Because if you start drinking alcohol, you're going to go to hell. If you're a Christian, you could drink all day.
not
But what's odd is that even though he considers this to be a knock against Christianity, he decided to join Islam and do the exact same thing. He's openly and willfully choosing to disobey all his restrictions while also still calling himself a Muslim. But worse, if he's right about Islam and he's right about how Allah isn't accepting of those who choose to willfully sin, then this is obviously really bad news for Sneako. Given this, Sneako's probably in the same boat as Myron, besides, unlike Myron, he doesn't realize it.
So this is actually a really good point he makes, because that if Sneako's reason for becoming a Muslim was that's actually a really weak reason. Christianity is not false because Christians can sin all day and they aren't going to be punished for it. It's false because they worship a dying man god who used the bathroom, and they drink his blood and eat his flesh, and it is based on a book that is completely non-authoritative and inauthentic. That's why Christianity is completely false. So if that's his reason, that's a wrong reason. However, something needs to be very clear in Islam, in our belief in Islam, that if a person does a major sin, so we played a lot right here, and I want to break this down. Whenever a person does a major sin, or minor sin, or whatever, this does not necessarily take a person out of Islam. Believing that someone who does riba or commits fornication or drinks alcohol, this now makes them a non-Muslim. This is the belief of the Khawarij, which was a deviant sect of Islam. It reared its ugly head in the beginning, and it's reared its head many times ever since then. And they believe that major sins can take you out of Islam. However, we believe that no sin takes you out of Islam except for kufr and shirk, right? Which is disbelief and polytheism. And then all it takes to come back is to repent for that sin, right? So the only way that a major sin can take you out of Islam is if you say that it's not haram. So if Sneako is here saying, oh, this stuff's haram, I'm still going to do it, well, he's still a Muslim, and he will still eventually go to paradise if he dies as a Muslim. Whereas a Christian cannot fornicate, he can not do zina, which is fornication, he cannot do usury, he can give charity, he can have the best of character. But if he dies as a Christian, even with all of this good character, he will go to hellfire forever, never getting out, and the punishment will only get worse. And he will be deserving of it. Now, the thing here is that a Muslim who commits sins, they might be punished for it if they weren't forgiven, they didn't ask for forgiveness, but eventually they will go to paradise. And this is the correct belief. So this is kind of a misnomer. You're trying to, place him in the same position because you have a wrong conception of sin, you have a wrong conception of forgiveness, you have a wrong conception of the hereafter, completely in general. So from the perspective of the truth and what's actually going to happen on the Day of Judgment is that all Muslims will go and be judged. Some will go to paradise straight away. Some people will wait a little bit longer on the Day of Judgment. Some people will go to hell for a little bit. But eventually all Muslims, all people who believed in La ilaha illallah, and whichever was their prophet at the time, Rasulullah, right, who was the messenger and prophet of Allah, they will all go to paradise. But any person who died as a disbeliever, no matter how good or bad they were, they will always be in the hellfire.
I rarely, if ever, bring Islam into the situation. Like, I never try to rationalize how I do things with Islam.
Like, what if we die tomorrow? I'm not perfect either. Obviously, you know that too.
But yeah, if I were to die right now, I would probably die kafir.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing to say. You can be humble, but you never say I would be a kafir, because then that's almost affirming that you don't have belief. Like, you can say I make mistakes. I'm not a good person. I'm a big sinner. I don't know what my station will be with Allah. Whatever. That's what we should say. We don't know what it's going to be. I'm hoping for Allah's pleasure and His mercy, and He forgives me. But we don't say I'm probably going to be a kafir if I die right now. Like, this is something that goes against the required elements of the shahada, which is having yaqeen, right, in Allah, and the belief that all Muslims will go to paradise. So this is a bad position for this guy to be in and to say. Also, Sneako, it's just not a good look. And then when you were talking about the women and chasing the girls, bro, I mean, you've just humiliated yourself, and you look just like every other fool and nanny, who and simp and sissy who's out there without like any clear guidance. You're just like wandering blindly. You know, you're like just like a little sperm with its tail, you know, flapping along, and you've mistaken randomness for creativity and complexity. You're just highly deluded, and you know, I pray that Allah guides you, man.
We're not good, so I better stay alive and get my shit together at some point.
Yeah. Don't die.
Now, props to Myron for acknowledging this and not trying to justify.
So I'm not going to let this guy preach to us anymore, because that's all he's going to do for the rest of this video is just preach his nonsense beliefs of worshiping the dying man God. Look, at the end of the day, Sneako, I invite you to surround yourself with some mentors. You know, come to Saudi Arabia. I'll sit down with you. I'll introduce you to people who will help you take your life seriously, man, because right, when you live the way that you're living, away from the remembrance of Allah, and you're just living your life full of all of these empty, vain desires that are just going to be gone in a flash, you're going to end up being really empty, man. And I mean, take it from those of, you know, our brothers who have been in the same position you're in now, who have experienced fame, who have experienced money, and they'll tell you exactly how empty it's going to be. And I know you want to like live it up while you can because you're afraid, but you put your faith in the hereafter. Like, if a person truly believes in Jannah, in the next life, and the reward that's promised, they won't even see any of this stuff as if it matters, right? And the greater your iman becomes, the less you see the stuff of this world. So, you know, look, man, I'm reaching out, you know, to help you stop humiliating yourself. And you think that maybe one day you can turn away from Islam and you'll still have a bunch of followers. Even when you go back, if you were to leave Islam, you're not the people who you go back to, the non-Muslims, they're not going to give a crap about you, man, because you're always going to be that guy who changed, and they won't know if they can trust you. You'll be like a Benedict Arnold who's like stuck in between two worlds, and you got nowhere to turn to. So be true to yourself. Be true to Allah. Follow what you need to follow. I mean, you spent some time with, you know, Sheikh Uthman and some other brothers, and you know, I'm surprised that nothing wore off on you, but you just go back and turn back to just following whatever the heck you want to do. At the end of the day, man, I will say, if it means you be a Muslim and doing all these sins, that's still 1,000 infinite times better than being a non-Muslim and still doing all those things, because eventually you will go to paradise. And so I ask Allah to give us all a deep understanding and to hide our sins and to forgive us and to make us better than we were the day before. Because at the end of the day, we're all on a journey. And I wish you the best, Sneako. And like I said, you know, reach out to me, reach out to some other brothers. Like, we actually care. I'm not here to haram police you, but I'm here to, you know, hopefully set you straight a little bit, man. And all those people who are watching you, all you brothers and sisters out there, like, stop wasting your time watching these ridiculously retarded streams for hours upon hours. So, as always, guys, y'all, if you like this, saddle up on that subscribe, lasso the like, and then, as always, y'all take care now. Assalamu alaikum.
والقرآن المجيد بل عجبوا أن جاءهم منذر منهم فقال الكافرون هذا شيء عجيب